As the day of Tisha B'Av approaches, there is an increased feeling of sadness, of loss, and of mourning. And there is no greater place that we are able to see that reflected than the tefillah that we say by Mincha on Tisha B'Av. We ask Hashem Nachem to please comfort the mourners of Zion, the Avla Yerushalayim. We talk about the city that is Avela, Chareva, Bezuya, Shemema. It is desolate of its people and of its grandeur. Yet, living here in this country, it's difficult to understand that fully, because if one looks around, one is able to see multitudes of people that live here and are flourishing. People who are Yerushalayim, Shemrei Torah mitzvahs, buildings, structures, edifices that certainly show a thriving city. How is it that we continue to call it a city that is Avela, that is Bezuya and Shemema? It seems somewhat ungrateful to be able to say that it's all gone and desolate as we do in that bracha. But I would like to share with you a thought that I believe addresses that question. In the bracha of Yerushalayim Ircha, which we say every day, there's an interesting sequence. It starts off saying, Yerushalayim Ircha berachamim toshu v'sishkem b'soicha. That first we ask that Hashem should return and Hashem should dwell in the city. Kashir dibarta, like you promised. And then we say, Uvenei oisa b'karv yameinu, and then we ask for it to be built. And we conclude, V'chisei David avducha meher l'soicha tochim. So besides the sequence of events, that's a question. Why are we asking for the return of David HaMelech and Malchus Beis David? Isn't that the next bracha of Es Tzemach? An amazing word I saw was that what we're asking for in the bracha of Yerushalayim Ircha is not the buildings, is not the people, it's not the government. What we're asking for is that Hashem should return. We want Hashem to be here. And only once Hashem has returned, Hashem is dwelling, and then to be able to build it. Because without Hashem, then we are bereft of what we need. Without Hashem here, all of the population and all of the medical services and everything else is meaningless. Because what we're asking for in that bracha is that Hashem should return. Imagine if you had been born with the ability to be able to see brighter colors. If you've been able to sense more than you can imagine now. Imagine if your hearing was sharper and able to hear things that are beyond human abilities. You could sense the world around you in a way that was more profound than what we can begin to dream of. How amazing life would be and how profound. Then imagine one day waking up without that. And life would return to the way we are today. How drab the world would seem. How empty. And indeed, how desolate. Or perhaps another mashal. Imagine having a spouse that you grow old with and you live 50 or 70 years with. And the love is profound and deep. And as you have children and grandchildren and perhaps even great-grandchildren, life continues to become more and more beautiful. But then, one day, your spouse is no longer there. How empty the world would feel. How drab. How lacking. And even though you might have children and grandchildren surrounding you with love and showering you with everything good, your life would seem empty and incomplete. Because in comparison to what you had, it is indeed empty. So when we talk about mourning the Beis Hamikdash, particularly on this day of Tisha B'Av, it is not about the lack of appreciation that we have for everything around us, but we are focusing for what we are missing. For when we had the Beis Hamikdash and the Shechina was begoloi, then we lived a life of profound connection. We lived a life where we felt Hashem and could sense things that we can't even begin to imagine now. And now they are gone. So on this day of Tisha B'Av, we focus on what's missing. So we remember what we once had and we yearn for once more. May we taka be zoiche soon to see this day be mahapech, from a day of avelo, a day of avelus, a day of yogin, to a day of simcha, as we rejoice in the returning of Hashem, and as He brings Mashiach Tzidkenu with Malchus based David, and everything that we are looking for, which is first and foremost to be able to feel Hashem's presence.